the director of the Hatchet franchise, Paulson TV show, Frozen, Thing of Tomorrow, and more. You are watching Gory Storytime with Jason and Craig. Or is it Craig and Jason? You're Craig?
Is murder by gator in the kill count of this movie?
Should you leave your mentally disabled child in a shack, alone in a shack on a gator-infested swamp?
Wow.
Yeah.
Does Adam Green remember filming that open for us?
All of this and more on today's Gory Storytime.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig, and this is the show where we review
horror movies.
And this week, well, little backstory.
We went to a
Last
horror
month.
convention in October.
And we met Adam Green, the writer and director of quite a few horror movies,
Including
the Hatchet series.
Hatchet, right?
So our plan is we usually do four movies that are like in a group, and this month we're gonna try to, or not this month, but like these next four, we're gonna try to do 4 of his movies, and it would be easy to do, as Colin suggested, Hatchet, Hatchet 2, Hatchet 3, and Victor Crowley. But we're not gonna do that because
we're original.
Well, because we're not mentally disabled children in the bayou being left alone in a gator-filled swamp in a shack.
Good stuff.
Anyway, I will say when we met Adam, he was very nice. He was willing to sign autographs and take pictures for free. We asked him if he would
Do our little video there. He did that for free.
Yeah, he
The
did
only
it.
thing that costed was we bought a picture for him to sign, which we didn't bring in to show.
But the point is, like, he's like, if you have something of your own, I'll sign it. If not, I'll have stuff here that you can buy, DVDs or pictures.
So technically, for $15, we got a picture with him, a video with him, we got the signature, and to stand there and talk for like a couple minutes.
Yeah, but he was really only charging for the picture.
Right.
But like he said, if we had something, like if we had the DVD of Hatchet, he would have just signed that for free. And since he was so decent to do this, we're gonna, do 4 of his movies.
Yep. He was pretty cool.
Yeah. He listed a few movies in the cold open, or the pre-cold open.
Right.
Plus, it gives us an excuse to play that beginning
4 times.
Yeah.
And any time in the future, when we do another movie of his, we'll just have to keep this in our catalog.
Yeah, sure. I'll remember that. But anyway,
that's his job.
Hatchet, the basic premise is
there's a
kid who dies and comes back as a full-grown adult and kills lots of people.
With a hatchet. Yeah.
Colin was saying it's very Friday the 13th-esque. Ironic, considering who played Hatchet Face, which...
Hatchet Face.
That's what they called him in the movie.
Oh, really?
You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
They called him Hatchet Face because remember how he died?
Yeah.
A hatchet went through his face. And Adam Green, nice guy, but not very creative when it comes to naming his characters.
Who thought Taserface would be such a great idea?
Yeah, right? Yeah. No, but anyway, before we get too far into it, why don't we play the trailer and let people see what we're talking about?
boy named Victor Crowley. Folks weren't too kind to Victor, so he stayed hidden in his daddy's house, out in the bayou. One night, some mean children came to his house, and there was a bad fire. When his daddy chopped down the door to save him, he didn't know Victor was pressed against the other side. And poor Victor Crowley died. They say people disappear in those woods. And legend has it, if you get close enough to the old Crowley house at night, you can still hear Victor Crowley roaming in the woods, crying for his daddy.
I want to go home. We're all gonna die.
All right.
Wow. Didn't give away too much.
Not really, just enough. Not even really enough to make us think of it as a comedy, which we found out.
Gathered very quickly into the movie.
We had to start it a second day because we were like not expecting it and weren't paying enough attention. And it's like, wait, this is a comedy? And but the gore was gory. The blood was bloody.
Yes.
The murder was murdery. The suicide was not Epstein. What? Did I say that?
All I know about the Clintons is that they are fine, upstanding people.
Wow.
So politics, 2 weeks in a row.
A reference that you actually got. But before we get into the behind the scenes, we have to give a shout out to our actual sponsors that exist. These are real products you can purchase and enjoy. And the reason we keep doing the show is because we get paid.
Fat stacks of cash.
Yeah, these people back up trucks full of cash, and then they have strippers making it rain on us. Just what? I know. Hot women taking off their clothes. Ew.
No, that's not us.
Anyway, this week, Gory Story Time is brought to you by Vic's Old Time Bayou Gator Stew. Vic's only uses the freshest meat chopped by hand in every jar. Vic began this company armed with only an axe, a swamp full of gators, and fire to roast the meat. His daddy's recipe and a dream. So if you want authentic Nolans flavor, then you should try Vic's Old Time Bayou Gator Stew.
Well, that just sounds tasty. And by Homemade Porn for Dummies. The new how-to book dedicated to the entire process of making good homemade pornography. For those of you who don't know, pornography is a film that shows two or more people or a myriad of other things engaged in... I made it so far. Okay. Engaged in the act of making love. Homemade Porn for Dummies will help you from casting to the right equipment and more. That's Homemade Porn for Dummies. Find it at your local adult bookstore.
All right.
So if you were watching, you're not anymore. We just lost all of our viewers right there.
Anywho.
So until next week.
Yeah, right. Now let's get into the meat and beef, as you like to call it, of the show.
Yeah.
You. Dog.
You.
If you watch all 3 Hatchet movies in a row without opening and end credits, it would be one uninterrupted storyline revolving around a few days, which explains the ending. See, we don't read any of the behind-the-scenes information until after we've watched it because we don't want it to skew our
us, right.
viewing.
Right. Writer and director Adam Green created a no CGI rule for post-production. Only CGI was used to remove on-screen wires and camera setups.
Makes sense.
I mean, sounds about right.
The horribly deformed young Victor Crowley is actually played by a beautiful actress named Rilia Vanderbilt. When makeup effects artist John Carl Buchler needed a model on whom to test the latex prosthetic, she was a volunteer. Since the makeup effects had already been molded to her face for the test shots, she played the role in the film.
Okay. Cool. When actor Joel David Moore vomits on screen, it is real. Director Adam Green did not want the actors spitting out fake vomit, like most movies do. Though Moore managed to throw up on his own for the first take, he was supplied with a mixture of cold clam chowder and orange juice for the second take.
This movie features cameos from Tony Todd, who played Candyman, and Death. As I described it out there, instead of saying the name of the movie, I was like, the movie where Death murders you.
Yeah.
The Final Destination series. He played Death. And Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger and was in The Mangler and was in Wishmaster. And he was.
Yeah. There's another movie I can't think of.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of movies. He was in a series called V from the 80s, which was about aliens. Anyway.
Okay. To keep the set hidden, the movie was called Love Rodeo during production.
Speaking of homemade porn.
Yeah.
During the cemetery scene on the tombstones, we see the names Sarah Albert and Corey Neal, both producers on this film, and of writer and director Adam Green.
Yes, I saw that. This movie was the last production to shoot in Louisiana before Hurricane Katrina hit. Perry Shen, who played Sean, took part in all 3 Hatchet movies, and Victor Crowley shot in Louisiana.
A hatchet, per definition, is a small axe with a single bit or blade. Thus, the poster image axe is not, in fact, a hatchet.
That's weird. Actually, really weird. It didn't even cross my mind. The T-shirt with the odd-looking smiley face on it is the logo for Newbury Comics, a New England chain that sells CDs and DVDs and comic books. Writer and director Adam Green grew up in Massachusetts and would buy his horror movies and action figures from there.
In all 3 of the Hatchet films, someone says the line, "You've got to be fucking kidding me." This time it was spoken by Ben, Joel David Moore.
Nice. The ringtone on Misty's cell phone is I Don't Want to Wait, performed by Paula Cole.
For my life to be over, which is funny.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't long after that. No. Danielle Harris of Halloween franchise fame took over the role of Mary Beth Dunstan, replacing Amara Zaragoza for the sequel and all of the following ones.
In the cemetery, there's a crypt with the name Green written over the entrance. This is a reference to director Adam Green.
Kane Hodder and Robert Englund appeared on Fear Clinic in 2014, which has nothing
to do with this, right? The first voodoo shop Ben and Marcus go to has a painted sign reading Rob Zombie's Voodoo Shop. Kane Hodder is a metal fan and good friends with Rob Zombie.
He's also a fan of Twisted, and I don't know currently how he feels with Twisted and ICP beefing, but he was an Insane Clown Posse fan and has been to many of
And he has a little not self-made, but like a special made Hatchet Man with a machete.
Because he was, Jason. But he also had a Twisted bracelet on when we saw him at the horror convention.
Yeah. Robert Englund and Joel.
How about Robert? Isn't it my turn?
Oh yeah, it's
Robert Englund and Tony Todd appeared on Chuck in 2007.
Yeah. Robert Englund and Joel David Moore appeared on Bones in 2005.
Adam Green is one of the people in the group of friends at the beginning of the film.
And, spoiler, Victor Crowley only kills one person on screen with a hatchet.
But the name Hatchet really doesn't come from him killing people with a hatchet. It comes from, they called him Hatchet Face because he died from getting a hatchet his face.
Right.
All right. The Rotten Tomatoes score, the people have this at a whopping 45%.
And the critics, not too far above them at 52%.
Which is weird for a horror comedy to have the critics have it higher than the people.
Right. Yeah.
But, all right, what do you have anything to say before we get into the...
No.
All right, so what was, and I know the answer because as it was happening, he turned to me and said, I know my favorite scene.
Yes.
But so let's start with least favorite.
Least
Your
favorite.
least favorite scene.
It's a tough one. I guess probably going into it thinking that this was a movie about a guy killing people with a hatchet, and the first thing that we see is a gator attack.
Where someone is eaten by a gator, and that's the first murder. And it's not like he's not like, you know, the Aquaman of the swamp. He's
No,
not like,
he doesn't have control over them.
Eat that man. It's not that at
Nope,
all.
not at all.
It's just randomly this man was eaten by a gator.
For convenience, maybe?
It's horrific, but it's really...
Not the point.
Yeah. My least favorite part would probably be that, you know, they kept saying, no, not really that. I guess my least favorite part would be there wasn't enough of the two girls scenes. The two girls that were on the boat, they should have had a lot more shots of like their scenes one-on-one. They're bickering and, you know, their camera work, etc.
So you're saying there weren't enough titties in this movie for you?
Listen,
And you would have liked to
I
see
was saying
more...
it way more polite than that.
Right.
And
The two girls who were in porn together,
Listen.
you wish to see more of. Slick.
that was going to be a surprise for the folks who haven't seen it and were going to
Slick.
see it, but no,
Real slick.
you're like, I know that we can say things uncensored somewhat on this show, so
Slick.
titties, porn, titties, porn.
The porn was all your fault.
This show is rated TVMA.
Just in case you didn't know from all of the language we've used in the past.
I mean, one of the
forever this
things,
show.
one of the facts I had to read had a quote that had the F word. Like, come on.
Yes, the F word. Okay.
What was your favorite scene?
So my favorite scene,
Was
which
it
kind of
was it a
lasted...
flip top head?
Yes. So that's where it started. But then it didn't stop. Because for 15 minutes straight, he was just walking around murdering the shit out of people violently and amazingly. And I thought, if more of this was happening throughout the film, if we just had 60 people on set and he just murdered the shit out of every single one of them, they know how to do awesome deaths. Because he rips this woman's head in half and she looks like an alligator, kind of. And then he smashes another person's head clean off.
Okay, don't give them all away.
He stomps on someone, and there's just blood everywhere. I love it.
Literally, you see what looks like someone took a bucket of blood and went like this, and you just see it go across the screen like,
Yeah, basically.
yeah.
It was amazing. And I want to see more of these movies now.
And there are two more that
3.
are called Hatchet, and one that's called Victor Crowley.
And he did a movie called Frozen.
Yes,
And he did
yes,
this
yes,
and this and
yes.
this, and I'm going to have to go and look
Obviously,
for his blood.
one of the things that was cut out of the cold open, pre-cold open with him, the camera didn't catch it because it was stopped right before he said it, but he's like, Craig and Jason, or Jason and Craig, which that we saw.
That kept.
But then he said, oh wait, you're Craig? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, and wait, he goes, and I'm Jason.
Yes.
And looked right at the camera with a big smile. Like, the guy's got a goofy sense of humor, and it shows in this movie. But
also,
goofy sense of humor with lots of blood.
so much blood. So what was your favorite?
My favorite scene would probably be, and no, it's not the girls in the titties. Because
No, because that was your least favorite, remember?
No, my least favorite was there wasn't enough of that.
Exactly.
I would have to say my favorite would be just when it revealed the backstory of the father and how he offed his son
In the
trying to
face.
save him.
Oh yeah, that was terribly
And it
hilarious.
was weird.
Like,
It was weird that Kane Hodder is credited as playing Hatchet Face.
and
Yet
you
he
see
played
his
Hatchet
face,
Face's father,
who killed him
who killed him.
with a hatchet in the face.
But he killed him
Trying
when
to
it was a little girl in
save
a mask, according to the scenes.
Right. So a little girl played,
Hatchet Face first, and
and then Kane Hodder did, because you know how it is.
well, he had to look like his father, so they had. Oh wait, he was covered in like Elephant Man
Slop,
style
right,
makeup,
like, so that didn't matter.
with a gaping wound so big that it makes most porn actresses jealous.
Yeah. So speaking of porn, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate this movie?
Knowing that it's a horror comedy, so I would say, based on over-the-top special effects, like without it being CGI, like
Yeah.
old school buckets of blood style.
Practical effects.
I plus the humor, which I always loved in horror movies when they had like the tension cutting. I mean, they had a basically Shaggy from Scooby-Doo character.
Oh yeah.
It had
That's
the
who it
jump to
was.
conclusions guy from Office Space.
Yep.
Like
It had
his token black
what's his
friend
name
was very
from
funny.
God Bless America.
Oh yes, the I can't remember his name, but the
Just go check
the
that
father.
movie out.
Yeah, that's a disturbing and funny movie too, but not a horror movie, so we can't really review it.
So
I'm gonna go ahead and give it an 8 for the fact that the horror parts, they straight up made it bloody, gory, and it's traditional slasher fare,
Yep.
but done well.
yeah.
And I give it a couple more points for like I really enjoyed the humor.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5 because
Because I want to be better than you.
yes, well mostly, but yes, the gore was absolutely amazing, and after reading that it was
Unrealistic and over the top, but that's what's amazing about it.
right, but after reading that none of that was CG,
Yeah.
that's even better to me.
Like I literally assumed that was filmed by taking a bucket of the fake blood and just going and just filming it go across in front of the camera. Like literally, there was a scene.
Oh yeah.
Like at the beginning with the alligator attack, because you know when alligators bite you, a bucket's worth of blood goes flying through the air. But it's amazing. So all right,
Yeah. On that side of the screen.
ta-da!
Okay. You can watch this show on Fact TV Channel 8, Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
You can email us at gorystorytime@yahoo.com.
Yahoo.com.
I'm unable to get into it, so we won't receive that.
You can like us on Facebook. You can watch back episodes of this and many of their other shows on factdate.com.
You can follow us on Facebook.
I
Gory
said
Story
that.
Time. I thought you were talking about, well, okay, fine. You can follow Fact TV. And if you're following Fact TV, you could be watching the live stream now going, why do they keep saying titties
Hi.
and shit and fuck?
It's because we can, okay?
It's the intrawebs and TV.
Yes. Welcome to Facebook jail. This is what it's like.
Yeah, something like that. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase.
I'm at Jason T. Jakes, capital J, capital T, capital J. I posted a ton of Epstein memes recently, so go check them out.
Yeah, we don't really use Twitter for
This.
this.
But until next week, I am your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig.
And
sweet dreams.
dreams.